Like, share. Tell your friends we're live. We'll get this video back. Download it. Where is this video to download? Download. There it is. Oh, download. That's good. Alright. My family, let's quickly upload this video. Present video. Welcome all. I think I downloaded it. The show is 153. Let me get this one. This isn't this one for now. It works. Cool. So I just randomly downloaded a video from the internet just to help the show. Here we go. We're gonna start there. Hello everyone. Tell your friends we're live. Tell your friends, very important show. Whoa. All right. Let's go. I'm gonna be changing the intro soon. How I start. I'm gonna break it down now. So this is the Black Bear broadcast. I'm your host, Rap Raven. This is the 173rd show. That's 173 times back to back. We've tried to come online and educate and collaborate and help brothers and sisters in the diaspora and locally, globally on how to progress using the lifestyle of Black Bearman. That's right. Don't forget to follow the Black Bearman broadcast building Instagram. So we're going to start where we'll start. So I'm going to change so what we're going to do. This is the start free statements. So we're going to change this to the dual dilemmas or the dual dilemma dichotomy. One of them. But basically, we're going to start with Black people being collectively inadequate and collectively have no friends. So it's going to be, right now we've got 3 statements and we're going to use as 2 statements because the second statement, the last statement, we're going to push into another thing. But so I'll change that soon. But just so you know, Black people collectively are inadequate, unfortunately, and this is something we try to work on. And also collectively, Black people have no friends. Very important statements. We're going to call those moving forward the dual dilemmas. Very important. And I shall start most debates when I'm out and talks and stuff with the dual dilemma that Black people face. And that is that we are collectively inadequate and collectively have no friends. And that's very important because then it means the solution has to come from within. And we present the solution on this show. Remember, when you talk to many brothers and sisters in the world, a lot of them have a false sense that maybe Black people are doing good. And what that means is they look at individual success and and mainstream kind of stuff, and they equate that to Black people moving forward. We say maybe individuals there's something there, but even there's challenges. But collectively, Black people are not in a good position, and where we have to try to deal with that challenge. You see, and we're going to put in the bell with future shows. All right, let me go on. So we're going to show the link. Don't forget to practice discipline, discernment, dignity, and dedication. When you jump in, please don't use derogatory language. Please use descriptive language and constructive language when we're trying to talk to Black people. We want to minimize anxiety and all that good stuff. So what is Black Bearman? Black Bearman is Black people helping Black people on Black issues for betterment. It's a lifestyle. We promote the lifestyle of Black Bearman. So today's show, I had to quickly rush it today because coming back late from somewhere. Katt Williams, we unpack the Katt Williams Club Shay Shay talk. I've downloaded the whole video. I've seen bits of it. There's 1 or 2 things in there, but maybe the listeners might know more about it. If not, someone can jump in and explain some things that went on. For those who know, Katt Williams is a comedian. He went on to a American football show and he was saying a lot of things that's circulating the internet. I don't know much about it, but I did get emails saying, maybe we should cover it. So I said, sure, we can. If it affects Black people or behaviors, maybe Black people should or shouldn't do, who knows? Also, Black conscious community. We look at the members of the Black conscious community. So we're just going to look at the history of the Black conscious community as much as we can. Look at where that what that means and where that community is today, who's part of that community, and a lot of good stuff. We're going to go for and also how it's perceived, and also what I was going to do, but I didn't write it down, which was going to be a topic, but I forgot to put it as a main topic or a topic. Was there's a video of Brother Umar talking on some podcasts, and two very important topics. One, he talks about black love and the need for marrying black women. But two, he talks about is Eminem the best rapper? And I think that's a very good topic we should tackle, because I think what's happening is people are getting his words mixed up with his political strategies. And I think understanding the political strategies and the history will make that conversation work better for black people. We'll probably cover that more, to be honest. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start. If anyone wants to cover the Katt Williams stuff, just say and I'll play some videos. But I'm not gonna really cover it unless someone requests it. Got like a 2 hour video, and I wouldn't know where the things to click at. But I know he covered, certain issues in Hollywood and stuff. Yeah, tell your friends we're live, the Black Band broadcast. Where black people come together to find solutions. Very small number, but that's how it works. You get the small, dedicated, who practice utility and unity, and then hopefully we spread innovations of Black Betterment and make that a thing. Now, maybe Let me start on the community stuff. So there's a sister. She's just gonna give her perspective of how the conscious community started. I just Googled this sister and I just downloaded it. Not too familiar with her work.
It's a cool family. I am here today to share a little Black History moment with you all.
There you go.
I wanted to just talk a little bit about the so-called conscious community and the how I first heard about it. At least I can't say how the term became about, but from my understanding, during the time of the civil rights era, there was also a resurgence of people wanting to know about African history. So there were some teachers who had come here from Africa and began talking about the culture of the Yoruba and the Akan people. And then there was just this whole movement of black love, and people began to want to dress in dashikis and afros and certain jewelry to express their culture. And as a result of this, people begin to study their history and become conscious. And that is also when the big festivals started to happen. I believe the first one was in Brooklyn, New York, a big African festival. And they had this festival so that people who were conscious, people who were into African culture, could come together with artists, people who made their own products, and they could sell the products. They had workshops, they had concerts, and it was just a time of celebration and to celebrate the culture of our people and our history and all of that. And that was back in, I believe, 1970 or 69 that they had that first festival. And of course, they began to grow, and people all over the country began to have African festivals. More people began to write books, and more people began to learn about their culture. And that is how I understand the conscious community came about. So these were people who went out of their way to study, and that is what set them apart from others, because everyone did not want to study about their history and culture. Some people rejected it, some people accepted it. And so it began to grow. And now we have people who are conscious of their culture. They like to live and celebrate the African culture. But we also have people who are health conscious and may not know anything about African culture, but they're conscious of eating healthy and being vegan or raw foodists and such things.
Okay.
Then we have people who are spiritually conscious and have become awakened to the path of enlightenment. And again, these people may not be conscious of African history or Pan Africanism or any of that, but they are conscious of spirituality in different ways than others. So we understand that our so called conscious community has grown, it has expanded, it has changed even. And I feel it's best for us to accept each other and respect each other for our differences and work together as opposed to being competitive and being.
Those joining, we're looking at the Black Country community. We look at the members of the Black Country community. I'm just going to get the thing for readers. Let me just get that thing up. Oh, I should have coached.
Divided because that is not our way, whether you're conscious of it or not. So, that's just a little Black History tip for you. A little bit about the conscious community, which I have been a part of for 20 some odd years because I became aware of my culture, I became spiritually aware, I became aware of eating healthy. So I would say I'm all conscious, and there are some people who are that. But we're all on different levels. We're all, in this together.
Excellent.
And
Thank you, sister.
we do have to respect each other,
There you go.
but also.
That's a nice positive, sister. There, because if you type in conscious community, in obviously YouTube, it's just riddled with. Well, we can check that out. Let me select that. Show you. So look at the conscious community. I'm just going to type it in YouTube and then show you the results. Conscious community. Let's. Yeah, probably get. Sometimes it's random stuff. So how do you go? Screen share. Stop screen share. Present. Share. I'll read that out, but it shows me. That one. So it should be a page, isn't it? Yeah. So as I'm scrolling, it's like, oh, and it even came up. Look at that. Magic. So the problem with the conscious community is like soap opera. Is the country hypocritical? Why I fell back from conscious community? Conscious community is exposed my brother Polite's mental illness and fear. So it's all quite negative stuff. And this is something, well, at least here, this is something that awareness has to happen, that when you're trying to form something forms organically, especially if it's Black and it's trying to be constructive. Everything you do will be used to undermine progress and stuff. So, conscious awareness of like how it is. Just of how you're operating, how you communicate, and obviously any kind of disagreements, how you express them publicly, it will be used to try to paint a picture of chaos and all this kind of stuff, right? And that's seems to be the ongoing message here. Is this one? Conscious community, also known as the Black conscious community and African conscious community, is a loose affiliation ally group composed of individuals from African diaspora and from Africa. The Pan-Africanism, Afrocentrism, Afrofuturism, Black nationalism, and Black liberation, religion, spirituality are foundational sources for ideologies found among individuals in the Black conscious community. So let's see the history. Is it a long? Yeah, we'll read as much as we can. Following the time when Louis Minister Khan started to lead the Nation of Islam in 1981, was it 81 when he came back? Yeah, all right, it was the 80s when he came back. I thought it might have been late 70s, but if it's 81, yeah, amid the crack epidemic impacting the Black American community and the act of police brutality against Rodney King in 91, the teachings of the Afrocentricity and Nation of Islam influenced the development of Black conscious political hip hop, e.g., Brand Nubian, Curse One, Propaganda, Queen Latifah, X Clan. Very important, all that. So all that going on with the crack academic and all that stuff going there, it had strong influence over brothers like the Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, and others, and they came back, and that's why when hip hop was forming, at least 80s or golden age hip hop was forming, you had a lot of pro-black, black conscious kind of rappers, right? Let's bring this brother in. Hold on. 5 seconds right there. Ta-da! So, yep. So just kind of reading. The Nation of Domination. Where we started off, the Nation Islam. Is that wrestling? Why have they put that there? Okay, cool. Evil. All right. What I was looking for was where's the the groups that they usually tie together. Oh, there's too much stuff there to go through. I did see some important names. Amos Wilson, Chance Williams, Shaka Antidiop, obviously Francis Cress Wilson, George GM James, Ivan Van Sermon, James Smalls, need to give him his own page. John Henry Clark, Joy DeGroove, Leonard Jeffries, Milana Karanga, Muldishi, Justus. I'm saying it wrong. I should know who that is, but it's not even highlighted to shame on me. And obviously Ben Yoakum, Joseph Ben Yoakum. Many people there. But the reason I'm saying is because obviously the contract community seems to be made up of many different like groups, and I remember seeing it listed here at one point, like some of the groups. Let me see if I can. There we go. Here it is. So, African Village, Black Hebrew Israelites, the Kemek Science, Morris Science Temple of America, the Nation of Gods on Earth, Nation of Islam, the Wahabi Nation, Rastafarism, Shrine of Black Madonna, Voodoo. Wow, a lot of stuff there. Yeah, a lot of them guys are doing, and collective groups are doing their own thing, but they're pushed together as a conscious community. And obviously, a lot of good work they do. But the issue, what issue we have to worry about is obviously people who try to undermine that, and obviously using shortcomings to define an entire kind of community is never good. So we were just looking at the conscious community, and because many brothers and sisters here today, especially the younger ones, their motivation to get into any kind of proactive Black empowerment, Black betterment work will actually come from the conscious community. And that was a strong term used from 81 to now. It was the term you would use, the conscious community. And back then in the 80s and 90s, it was much more disciplined. I think now with the internet, there's many spin-off factions and in rivalries, which is not good. This is the awareness you have to have. You have to be conscious, right? It's hard to be conscious when you're swearing and cussing each other, especially when you know it'll be used to undermine progress. So just something to be aware of. We're joined by Brother Musa. Welcome, Brother Musa.
What's up? What's up? Can you hear me?
You can indeed. Thank you for joining.
Big up still, man. Yeah. I like what you're saying about the whole conscious community, but is the conscious community, is that a vehicle? Is it something that is giving us the results that we want?
Well, it's the thing. No, in the sense of, it isn't that they're not giving us things we want, but I think the amount of resources and people involved. I think it might be me repeating. Is it me? Let me just mute and see if it's for me. Yeah. No. The issue we have, brother, is there's so little amounts of people who actually do constructive work that it's an uphill, daunting task. And also, many brothers and sisters in the conscious community, they come from a background of pain and problems, and in the darkest hour, they decide, or the light hour, whichever you want to word it, they fall upon better ways of living, knowing that this isn't how we should be existing. But they come from a history of pain, and some of them struggle to shake that pain, as in the challenges they were going in the past time affects them in the new time. And you tend to find it's only brothers and sisters who've gone through a lot that are tested enough to actually want to be dedicated on Black people, while others are quite cushy in their kind of lifestyle, so they don't necessarily, nothing really push them to be woke or awake or conscious at all. That's what we find. Let me see. Big up Brother Cal in the group. So today's topic is Katt Williams. We unpack the Katt Williams club talk and the Black conscious community, which we just looked at there. We're also going to talk about the political agenda of Brother Umar Johnson and how it's important. So, brother, I'm going to do that one. But do you? Oh, matter of fact, should we even listen to if there's any swearing this, I forgive you. So I just downloaded this site now of brothers who are talking about, and some of them are in there and they're part of it. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that anything we're doing, any kind of movement where it is, we want to definitely separate from destructive behavior. And the thing is, that's why codes are important. So a person falls from a code, we can say, well, they're violating the code, so the group can't be held accountable for that because we said that this behavior we don't support. There's a brother called Brother Inky, who I guess is or was in the conscious community generally, and he's just talking about the people he knew. I just randomly downloaded this video just to hear what he's saying. I know it's not going to be constructive at all in a sense. Well, not constructive, but it's going to be it's going to be him probably highlighting shortcomings. But let's have a listen, then we'll jump to something else.
Because that whole circle, like I said, they all support, you know, child rapists or pedophiles and, you know, all that kind of thing. So it's not really that big of a deal for them. You know what I'm saying? It's just one more, you know, it's just one more of the crew that they finding out about. But they all got, you know.
Wait a minute. So we know heavy in certain religious cultures, we know that pedophilia thing is big. So are you telling us in the conscious community that we've been respecting for the last 10, 20 years, that the leaders of the conscious community supports pedophile behavior? And on some of them are pedophiles?
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah, of course. The whole circle. Yeah, that's a fact. See, listen, only people that don't know this, the only people hearing this for the first time is people that's outside of that circle. But everybody else, they know this already.
So we have to have certain principles in place where obviously we want constructive black people to thrive. I mean, we want all beneficial things to move forward. But anytime someone puts himself forward as a part of something, if they do anything publicly or behind the scenes that's problematic and it comes up, then it will be used to undermine everything else. So we have to have principles in place of where do we agree on certain things in it. So like abusing women, underage women. So there's abusing women and wives and that kind of stuff. And then there's, you know, trying to be with underage women or boys or men or whatever. So all these problematic behaviors we have to have a stance in like, okay, well, we don't support these behaviors. So if someone's doing it in the shadows, you know, we want them to correct them, but we can't take responsibility for things we're unaware of, whatever. Kind of like, you know, the controversy with the Catholic Church or whatever it is, where there's young pedophile, old pedophile priests, whatever it is, and it happens so consistently that now they're just tarnishing the whole, you know, church is that kind of thing, and you definitely want to be aware of that's what people do. So best to first be constructive, but second have codes to make sure that doesn't happen.
Everybody else knows this already. They saw when Sarnetta was telling everybody, "You baby Dr. York, you baby Dr. York. I'm gonna let everybody know what you did to my niece. I'm gonna let everybody know what you did to my niece." Yeah, that's already out there. You know what I'm saying? And the people that really go back with Polite, because before Polite got involved with the conscious community, he was in the Nuwaubian community. In the Nuwaubian community, the people that really followed along with Dr. York's case, they know that there's a woman named Khadijah. Now, in Dr. York's case transcripts, Dr. York was using some of the other people that was in his camp to help groom the children and also participate in the sex acts.
So I know that Dr. York's been arrested, and there's a video of him confessing and stuff. A lot of people say, yeah, they're still supporters of Dr. York. I don't really know. Once again, someone will have to come on who's more trained in that. But either or, that regardless of if someone has or hasn't done something, there has to be a stance that do we accept things happen to children or do we not? If we don't, then we know that anyone who does, we can't support that, and they'll have to be called out and corrected, prosecute, this kind of stuff. Anyway, we're not going to list all this. Man, I need to turn that on. There we go. So we're joined by Brother Musa, and I think Brother Musa, you said Katt Williams. Let's go to Katt Williams. You watched a 2-hour talk with Katt Williams, and he said some stuff. Anything you want to cover on it? Do you want me to play anything in particular on that, brother? So this is it here.
It's such a long video.
It is.
He touched on so much. He touched on so many different things. Nothing in particular I wanted to play out, but there's nothing in particular that's crossed my mind. But it's very interesting, very powerful. However, we don't have as a people a structure or an instruction on how to keep our problems in-house. So because our problems are there's so much, we can't hold it in our head. We go out there into the general public and just unleash all the things that's going on in our head. Talk this and talk that. You know what I'm trying to say to you? Like other cultures, Chinese people don't do that. Yeah. Jewish people don't do that. You get what I'm saying to you? Hindus don't do that. They don't go onto a live television and start telling everybody all the things that's going on in their community and who did what to who and who did what to do. Like they don't do that. They don't, yeah, even white people, Caucasians, they don't do that.
It is. There's so many challenges going on back to back. I think we can always unpack it like why black people are more likely and more prone to do certain things. And this does tap into my next topic, I guess, about understanding how to politically speak about certain things.
And you know what's interesting?
Yeah.
Different cultural backgrounds have given us different morals. So the Abrahamic world, which is Islam, Christianity, Judaism, and Rastafari, which is in the something that black people like to practice, a lot of biblical stuff. They've got one particular type of morals. And Quran is still part of the Abrahamic world. And so they've got a bit, they follow Sharia law, which is different to what they follow in the Bible, but similar, because they both honor Abraham. And then you got the voodoo blacks, they follow a different moral compass. And it's like, depending on which group you're coming out of, you're going to carry the morals of that group. And their morals they don't always work in tandem with other black religious groups. And so sometimes what you think is acceptable, what's acceptable in your circle doesn't go down well in another circle. They say, nah, the religion we belong to, it doesn't go like that.
Yeah, it is a tricky one. And that's why we have like operation codes and codes of conduct. So, and people have to understand that they're joining something that have different widespread of different beliefs and understandings. So you have a kind of easy way to operate. I think the Nation of Islam did that really well in the sense when they would go out and say, well, we're seen as Muslim, we're Muslim, but we're gonna put our religious kind of our teachings, not moral teachings, but like trying to convert to the side because we're here to work with other black people to find solutions because black people are going through challenges. So they had a way to operate with other people, different groups, because they're aware that regardless of what faith you are or non-faith you are, you're still going to catch a similar challenge just by your physicality and how you identify it. So there's I just downloaded around the video. So this is what I'm going to say. Dr. Umar, brother, he for those who know, he's a Pan-Africanist and he's building a school for boys. And that's these two major things that I think people know him for. So other stuff as well. But he's been doing a tour talking, and there's two things that's come up as he's been talking. One, he mentions not calling Eminem the best in hip hop, and then another one is on why you should marry a black woman, and people who don't. Very two important topics to those. Maybe I should got that. Oops, lady. Oops. Oh, was that one? Yeah. So but yeah, what I'm talking about is the politically, and obviously Robert Umar is a regular speaker, has his own style. So no critique on him. He should do whatever he does. Sometimes people do things for reaction. Some people just have a different style. For me, more so talk to other people who want to talk to people and want to get a result. If you're not really like a public speaker, how you word things are important. So we're going to listen to this gentleman try to break down his interpretation of what Robert Umar does, and we're going to try to then talk about after. So let me give a minute or so.
Well,
What's going on?
bro, I gotta be real with y'all, bro. Here we go again. Another month, Eminem name is in the news for the blogs for the same exact thing. Y'all know y'all feel like me right now, bro. I'm tired of hearing this, bro. I'm real life tired of hearing this. First of all, Dr. Umar, whatever your name is, as soon as I saw his face, I already knew what he said before I heard anything. If y'all know Dr. Umar, this dude is strictly pro-black. He don't give a damn about nothing else. He low-key racist. Let me put that out there. He low-key racist.
So once again, and many brothers are not conscious and they don't understand the language, and this is what you have to deal with. So we're gonna keep listening. Welcome Empress Christy to the stream.
If you want to be completely honest, he low-key racist, man. Now look, as soon as I saw bro face, I already knew, and I saw Eminem name mixed in it. I already knew everything that was said, and I knew how it was gonna be said. Now, Dr. Umar basically said Eminem is not the best rapper of all time. Let me stop right there. I'm gonna let y'all hear everything he said though. Let me stop right there though. First of all, Joe Budden said one of the greatest of all time. He didn't say the greatest of all time, meaning Joe Budden was saying it could be multiple. He didn't say just one. So that's why everybody, first of all, everybody listened to the question wrong. Then this guy right here, he just went off. He basically said M can't be the best of all time because he white. He said, how can M be the best at something that's black and he white? Then he went on to say, and which is crazy logic. That is crazy logic. So MJ can't be the king of pop, huh? Right? That's with that logic, right? Jordan or LeBron can't be the best at basketball, right? With that logic, right? It's the same thing, right?
It's not the same thing, but we're going to break down how to word things so we don't confuse brothers and sisters. Because remember what I said a few weeks back, or just generally for a few years back, I should say really, but there's the European logic and the black logic in the sense of dealing with the legacy of anti-black racism. So obviously the European who mistreated black people, Africans for many decades, centuries, at a certain point they said, okay, let's not do this anymore. This is wrong, allegedly. And they had a strategy. We must not see race. We must not judge by race. So they made this a public statement. But really that should have been a European statement. Black people need to see race because of the decades and centuries of mistreatment and nothing being done about it. So black people need to see race and have a political agenda. And it's very important we understand that. And I think how we should talk to these people and say, yes, you're using a European mindset, or you're using a European solution, and that is correct for them. You see that'll minimize anxiety. Go, look, I think what you're saying is correct, but it's the European. You see, because they went around doing mistreating people, they had a personal solution for their group, and so they articulated the concept of let's not see color openly. Let's not, you know, uh, help people based on color openly, whatever, right? That's their solution to deal with decades and centuries of mistreating black people and all other non-white people, but generally we're talking about black people. So that was their solution. Black people's solution has to be because of the decades and centuries of being mistreated, we have to see color. We have to fix it. You see? So if you can work to these brothers, that then it will minimize them talking this way, because there's many black people. That's how they think. That's why when I go speakers corner, I would trigger many anxieties because people didn't understand. So you have to try to have a way to word to them, because
many anxieties. It's an anxiety. It's a high anxiety topic.
A very high anxiety topic. So you have to speak in a way to them that makes it make sense. And we're gonna unpack. Let's listen to more to what they say.
Oh my God. Oh my, bro, that is crazy logic. Like, these niggas gotta stop being emotional. Talent don't got a color. That's how I feel. That's how I genuinely feel.
What you want to break down to them is, because we're going to get to how politically things work. You have to say that you understand rock and roll was invented by Black Americans in the South. They said that Elvis Presley is the king of rock and roll. They said that the Beatles is the best band on rock and roll. They had a magazine called the Rolling Stones, which is a black name. First there was a band called the Rolling Stones. Then there was a magazine called the Rolling Stones. And it's from a black word representing, rock and well, actually having intercourse as well. But they took that, and in that magazine, the man said recently when he released his magazine that he wants no black people in this magazine. So, and then when MTV came out, they wanted to just be rock music, which they used as a term for white music, because they played white soul music and white pop and white whatever, but they made it very clear. This is in the late 80s, I think it would be, right? Mid 80s, because Michael Jackson was coming out. So mid 80s, sorry. Yeah. And they didn't want to play Michael Jackson, Prince, Lionel Richie, Rick James. They didn't want to play him. They said just rock music, which was a code for white music. And the irony is rock music was invented by black people. But this is the political stuff that black people look past, understanding. We've been playing it many, many times. But, we have to drill it home just to educate these brothers of what's going on. But let's play it.
Bro, talent do not got color. Whether the sport is black, white, yellow, blue. If a black nigga come in a white genre of music and dominate, then he dominate.
Give me example one. In country western, there was only like one black person. His name was I know I've got his album today for he made a song called "Does My Ring Hurt Your Finger?" I'm just late. I know him. I'm sorry. There's one brother. Unfortunately, he passed not too long ago. But they only let one in. Even I think I think what's her name? Beyonce made a country song that they said you can't be in our chart. The same sex loving gentleman made a song that was on the chart. That's another thing we can go unpack that another time as well. Why they would do that on two folds, and what we can learn from them in defending their music. But it's their music, but it comes from blues music, pretty much. It's got the same scales and everything. But matter of fact, the father of country music said he learned everything from a homeless black man.
I was going to say, country is definitely certified black. Even Dolly Parton, who's supposed to be like the queen of it, has said that it was definitely all of those genres from them times were black.
But this is it's important you say this, because that's what happens. And this is what Dr. Umar is trying to protect black people from, as in you give an inch and then they'll take the planet. You see, it's like you will call rock and roll will be a European thing. The awards will be European. The rides will be European. You own anything with European, and you won't be allowed into something you've made. And this is what he's aware of, but obviously these brothers and sisters are not too aware, so we have to give them the history.
If a white dude come in hip hop and dominate, he dominate. Some people just can't get past the fact that a white boy can out-rap your favorite rapper.
One thing as well that black people do, and we have to highlight, is you give extra credit. Hold on. Let me press play on.
I don't know why that's so hard for certain people. We get all this slavery stuff. We get that. But we at the end of the day, we talking about making music at the end of the day. We talking about putting words together. We talking about putting syllables together. Making stuff rhyme. It's a sport. It's culture to us black people. So that's the only part I'm agreeing with him on. It's definitely black culture. But you said this man right here can't come in and be the best just because he's white? What? How can that makes no sense. Eminem said it himself, bro. Where my phone at, man? Eminem said I can be top 5 because I'm white, but I can't be number 1 because I'm white. That's tough. Eminem said that himself. He said that's the reason they can't put me at 1 because I'm white.
And that would be a good thing from a political standpoint. You know, that's the thing, is everything is against black people. So understand how to move politically is important, and if you don't, you will always be lost. But once again, the brother Umar has his own style of delivering stuff, and that works for him. But I wouldn't recommend untrained speakers to deliver things this way. You have to deliver it in a way that people can digest, because the average black person is white identified. You see, and when you're white identified, you will see the world from that lens, and you wouldn't necessarily understand the history of why you have that strategy.
But they can put me top 3, top 4, top 5. They can do that, but they can't put me number 1 because I'm white. But I'm gonna let y'all hear this, man. I'm gonna let y'all hear this crazy logic right here, man.
Give that privilege up. Sure. And one of the issues I have with the fact that we let non-Africans participate in our culture so much, they can do so as a hobby.
Racist. That's racist. What? You said, boy, this guy right here dangerous, boy. This guy dangerous, man.
Obviously, I know that's a metaphor, but you know, calling people or countries dangerous because they give you political ways to process stuff isn't a good idea. But we'll carry on listening.
Because whenever they want to take off their nigger suit, they can put their white privilege suit right back on and pick up the privileges they had before they made the rap album. Eminem has all the privileges of a white male and the privileges of being in the hip hop community. Sure. So we got to be careful about letting non-Africans come into our community, benefit or participate in our culture when they get to leave.
So we're going to develop words to help educate brothers and sisters on this, but I think the question, right, how is this racist? It's not. So what I'm suggesting is, for those who are joining, is teaching black people that the solution to racism from Europeans has to be different from the solution to racism from Africans or black people, white people, right? So white people can't see color. They can't, so they say, they can't do things based upon race because that would be racist, right? That doesn't count for black people. Black people have to do things by race or by people because we're fixing the legacy of anti-black racism, and you can't do that in isolation, see? But Europeans who have benefited from African resources, African wealth, African people as commodities, this kind of stuff, for them and Arabs for hundreds of thousands of years, they don't need to see race anymore. They've already got the empires built and the wealth built from it. So in the cleaning up process, in the fixing process, black people have to see color, you see, because you have to see the people you're trying to help. If you word it in that way, that might be an easier way to digest it for the unsynchronized brothers and sisters.
at the end of the night. Jane Elliott can leave at the end of the night.
Leave what?
So another breakdown. So Jane Elliott, she's a European lady who spoke on, you know, racism in the classroom. She sees that, and she dedicated a lot part of her life trying to highlight racism. And one thing, when a lot of black people, they use Jane Elliott as, you know, the savior and this kind of stuff, you've got to be very careful when white people do good deeds, how you elevate them, because you're so used to white people giving you one. When a white person gives you, you know, 4, that's amazing, and you know, it's 4 times more, and you know, give them a crown and stuff. But the issue you're gonna have is
I'm sorry to interrupt you, brother. I think Cal's in the back, bro.
Oh, let me put him in. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're welcome, bro. Oopsie daisy. Well, Black Brown and Brother Cal.
Much up, Black Betterment family.
Okay.
Black Betterment.
Big up.
So what we were saying? Miss me, bro. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So what we were saying was, so someone like Jane Elliott, you know, as she was trying to talk about anti-black racism and white supremacy, so was Frances Cress Welsing, who's an amazing scholar who has a history and a science in what she teaches, whatever, which is good. But you'll find that more people know Jane Elliott. So that, once again, it shows you that seeing the world through a European lens. So even though when Europeans are doing good, I think Brother Kel would articulate very nice a few weeks back, you can't lose yourself. You've got to still have a disciplined way of you have to have an internal appreciation, but not a kind of external party appreciation for non-black people who highlight anti-black racism. You see, and I think this brother would be wise from that. Let's play a bit more.
It's music. Man, hey, bruh, hey, that's racist, bro. That's slick racist, man. So you saying you saying nobody should be able to come within the sport of hip hop because it's black?
What I would do as well myself, and what I do when I'm on podcasts, when you talk about black music generally, is rather than saying Europeans, non-black people can do it, can't do it, it's you're better at, because people can do what they want, right? It's creativity that knows, you know, there's no laws. But I would say that what we should say is the focus should be on making black people monetize and monopolize on black culture and black music and ownership, and so that when black people, so for example, a lot of the rock and roll acts who came after the inventors of rock and roll are exceptionally wealthy, and they receive royalties and this kind of stuff week to week and stuff. While a lot of the black guys who invent it are homeless or broke, or they're in debt, but they invented the art form that that others have become billionaires from. So it's like the idea is, rather than saying who can or can't do it, you want black people to own it and control it, because that's what people do when they invent things. You see, apart from black people, of course. So that way the focus is shifted, and then you can highlight other companies doing that, and also highlight how black cultures and stuff has been taken by non-black people and then resold back to the world where black people don't profit. So remember, political.
I was going to ask though, who's this guy's audience? Who's his core audience?
I'll be honest with you. I typed in Umar versus I think the Eminem, and it came up, and I clicked on the first video, but I knew that his behavior was quite indicative of many black people who are not necessarily well versed in history and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a big number, and the reason I'm saying this is because you will, if you haven't already, going to speak to them, and a lot of people just disregard a lot of brothers and sisters. But I think a better strategy would be to do what we said before, as in talk about it in division, as in there's a way how Europeans have to deal with the legacy of racism, and Africans and black people have to deal with racism, and it's very different. So this concept of not seeing color, it will work fine for the Arabs and the Asian, for the white people, in theory, as they say out loud. But for us, it can't work that way, because we have to recover from everything that's been taken. You see,
I think another thing as well, Brother Raven, and Garvey made this perfectly clear in his philosophy. We
Yes.
don't know how to separate subjective feelings compared to objective morals that we should have, and it's something that we really struggle with. I mean, non-African people, man, are very diplomatic with us.
Yes.
Eminem's very diplomatic, and we don't know how to do that. So, from the case study, you can see that there is a political education in this brother on the screen, because it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Eminem, he can never get to that higher level because he's not an African. It's his end up.
Yeah.
You have to nationalize your institution, and you made it perfectly clear in the 60s when they were copying Rosetta Thupe, who is the mother inventor of rock and roll. They didn't want us to sing it. They were doing their own thing, So we should really do the same thing, man. But it's separating personal and political. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. It definitely makes sense. He actually plays a bit. So let him talk a bit, and he plays what he's not best pleased with.
It's black made. It's a black thing, right? You saying can't nobody outside of black people come in hip hop and be the best because they're not black?
So yeah, these kind of stuff will confuse them. I think you have to word things as in we openly should not be declaring non-black people the grandmasters of black things until not even until, but we can say until if black people are owning everything black people made, then you can. Because the thing with ownership is it's like once you own it and you're the face of it, you can start delegating and say in Korea, he's the best from Korea. In Poland, they're the best from Poland, whatever, right? But that's because you're the owners and you're doing like you're essentially making the World Cup of hip hop or the World Cup of jazz or reggae or whatever, right? You're in charge of it. So you can go around the world as the grandmasters going, well done, this person, well done, that person. But to just sit in a low economic position and say that the greatest person in this black controlled art form, black made art form, is from a descendant of the people who stole from black people. That's politically no group does. There's no. Just look at country music as a perfect example. They don't let black people even come to the awards. You can't win nothing. Beyonce was said her song is not country, so you can't get it. The man who is in charge of the rock and roll magazine said no black people are welcome in this magazine to celebrate the history of rock and roll. So a magazine to celebrate the history of rock and roll. The man who owns it says black people are not welcome to this. Yeah,
this is what I mean. Like, I just think it's a basis of they don't understand gatekeeping.
No.
That's basically what you're describing, and this guy is literally not understanding that it falls down to a basic principle of gatekeeping. I feel like these people, I feel like sometimes some of us within our family literally are still stuck in like Sesame Street. Like everybody's the same. We all believe that they just don't get it, you know, like they don't get it unless there's a personal kind of problem that happened to him. All of a sudden he'll understand racism, but in the great scheme of things as a community, he just don't understand the principle of gatekeeping. Every community does it, you know. That's what I think his confusion is.
But when we say he is responding how the rappers and quite wealthy black guys on the show think, and that's the thing, that conscious rappers is a thing of the past for the most part, at least within a semi-mainstream area. So all the top rappers are the most popular rappers. They're completely unaware of political agenda, or something a term we should bring back into black agenda. They don't understand black agendas at all, right? So that's why they go out of their way to root for non-black people and to let you know that everyone's equal and racism's in the past and the white woman's good and this kind of stuff, right? So this kind of play it.
You saying they can't be the best at something because of their skin color? Because black people created it, right?
So once I was talking to my friend about this today, and because he always rings me to talk about his disapproval of black behaviors when he's in certain scenarios, and how disappointed he is. And I said how I deal with a lot is I accept that black people are collectively inadequate. And when you accept that we collectively struggle with working as a team, right? We like you accept, then you know that you're trying to do it. But I think he was talking about he was trying to he was trying to explain why he shouldn't be with the woman he's with, a friend of his, right? Obviously because they're not for African descent, and they didn't get it, and it was causing a scene here and there. And I said, well, the words you use are important, so I think you need to center black people in your discussion. So rather than say who you shouldn't be with, obviously say who you recommend they be with, right? But then also acknowledging that, well, you know what? I acknowledge that we're inadequate. We can't make you not do that. As in, like, we don't have the capability to even try to make you see the values of being with your own kind of people, right? And that comes from us being collectively inadequate. Like keep on going back to that concept, right? Because when you talk to a lot of brothers and sisters, the picture is painted that we're coming from a king and queen kingdom. Like, we're coming from a successful king queendom, and we're coming with all this jewelry on, and we're letting you know that even though all this jewelry on, there's more to get and stuff, right? In reality, we're coming in rags, and we're recovering from one of the biggest genocides and kidnapping and economic devastation of all time. And we're in the process of trying to recover, and we have to have protocols, and the protocols come from you're in a low place. What do you do to progress? And now that's why who you pick, the business you do, the philosophies you follow, all become heightened because we're in a low place. We're low in the league. We're getting relegated. And if you do that, then that usually, from what I see, slows down the anxiety and the aggression, because now they have to tread more carefully because, you're trying to fix something that's broken. Oh, I'm broken. We're broken. Oh, we haven't recovered from being broken. Oh, you see, that I find that to be more of a strategy. Let me carry on playing. If anyone wants to jump in, feel free.
So they can't be the best. Even if they rap better, they sell more albums, they do all that. They can't be the best at it.
Another thing, I mean, if anyone wants any additional ammunition to shut down some brothers and sisters who talk this way, let them know that. So, for example, use hip hop as an example. How you meant, like, if you go to country and western, I always forget the guy's name. I'm bad. So there's a guy they call the father and the best of country western, and he's some young guy. He died. He's died, I think, at 27. I should know his name. He was young, and he was very famous in the country scene. But no one will let you mention anyone above him, because when he came in the mainstream of country back in the 30s or 40s or whatever it was, he people stood on his shoulders, and then they tried to emulate and get to the next stage, right? Meaning that you stand on the shoulders of giants, and that's no different in hip hop. So everyone who raps the way they rap now there was a grand change in the 80s where Rakim and Kool G Rap and Slick Rick came in, and all these other rappers, and they were the golden age rappers. So because they rapped a certain way, 80% of the rappers stopped rapping because they felt that it would be too difficult to keep up with that level of lyricism, apparently, right? That's what they said. So what happens is, when you say anyone today is the greatest, you're kind of undermining the importance of what the architects did that made their greatness even possible. You see? So Rakim is seen by every rapper like who I listened to growing up in the 90s and the 80s and then the 2000s. They all said if you have to give it to someone, it has to be Rakim, because he changed how people rap. Yeah? As in, like, we changed the entire game, right? So to give it to someone else would be almost disrespectful, you see, and
Very
I think
dishonorable.
very dishonorable. And I think that once again, these are the conversations that we can have very politely and lightly, without triggering anxiety and making people scream on their own podcast, "You're a racist," like, to their blue in the face.
But then, brother Raven, but we as the black community can simply tell the unsynchronized some people that because non-African people haven't dismantled the unethical code of conduct collectively, and that, right, it would be unfair to put them in that position while they're finessing us and haven't put the work in. You see,
Exactly.
being truthful and using political historical events and strategies to non-African people, he's gonna burn them.
Yes.
Because you know what they're like. But we have to be truthful with our people. And if all the black people who, you know, the ones who can't control the hip hop industry, because you know who controls that, stop supporting Eminem and giving him the validation, then he will understand the reality. But it's because we keep giving him the validation. I mean, you got Ed Lover, you know what I mean, and that saying all these things, Dr. Umar Johnson, this and that. But Dr. Umar Johnson is a nationalist like myself and like all of us on the panel. So that's what nationalists do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you're right. You definitely that will cause that conversation and stuff. And I think that I think it is, how do you get across to someone what what you're doing is political. It's a political thing, and it goes beyond your feelings. It's like, this is the best strategy for a people to move forward. We are responding to what has happened, right? And I think taking away from, I mean, here's what it is. When you start saying things like the most talented and the high selling, well, we know that's already been compromised. We already knows that by the history of economics and marketing and who's been pushed forward, whatever, that can heavily influence sales, right? And we also know that people look at certain people more favorably. So, being a European and very famous, you're going to have more eyes on you than, say Nas or someone, right? This takes nothing away from talented non-black people. If you're talented, you're talented. The question is, if Europeans want to call Eminem the greatest of all time, let them. It's when black people do it, that's the issue. Like, because this is like, you should know better.
Yeah, well, is white folks. Is white folks. They never said that. They never said that James Brown is the king of pop.
That's right.
So what it is that white folks made Elvis the king.
That's right.
And Elvis learned from black folks. So Elvis can't be the king of a genre that he didn't invent.
I think
so. If Elvis that could be the king, and then they went into the black world, and in hip hop they're trying to make Eminem the king also. But you can't go into the white world and and convince white people to make black people the king, even though we are the king because we invented the music that they're playing. Rock and roll is speeded up. Rock and roll is speeded up. I think it's speeded up jazz.
Well,
it's used on a fastest.
Rosetta thought invented it. American lady.
That's a deep point that Brother Musa said about Elvis Presley. Still,
but this is history repeating itself as it always has done, right? Even jazz.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sister.
No, I was just going to say though that was it rock and roll? Like there was, I think it was rock and roll at the time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was and this was around about segregation time, right? So the black musicians will do music, and then there'll be a bunch of white artists that would literally do the same song. I'm talking about the same song, but then there would just be white artists, right? Because so it could sell.
Yes, that happens.
Right. So I don't know what. Yeah. So when we're looking at the history of that, that's one element. And then you've got people like from the Rolling Stones, like the old school English musicians, particularly, have even admitted that they have gone to America to learn from these old kind of blues, jazz, rock and roll. And they will even UB40, the amount of Caribbean songs that the man took, but they verbally have said that they have got their niche, they've got their everything from these particular artists. But it was only when the white people, again, like my first example, when white people do it, because of the time, number one, it could be marketed because it had to have a white face. And then near to the later times when you're talking about, I forgot what this man is, the Rolling Stones guy, I'm talking about
Keith Richards,
yeah,
Mick Jagger, all
Mick
of them.
Jagger,
Yeah,
exactly, my
yeah,
brother, exactly.
yeah.
So when these brothers come out and they do the same genre, because it's more marketable on a white face, right? Then it sells. Now, if it sells, you're the greatest, right? Apparently, right? Because it's all about the numbers. But to us, what it is to be the greatest is about the lyrical genius of it, the beat, the musicry. That's why they learn from us. So it's again about the ignorance of not understanding what the greatest really means. You know what I mean?
And one thing I'd add, before you jump in, one thing I'd add to this greatness chart that we push is the dedicated work to the community they're from. And the reason I say that is because if you ask me who the greatest rapper from England is, I'm now going to say Swiss because that's a very talented rapper who made Black Pound Day, right? Who made with the sisters. So that's like if you ask me in America, I might even have to put Ice Cube, because Ice Cube he's done constructive work. He tried to spread awareness. He tried to get political, and he owns his own basketball league, right? And he hired his son, and so it's and he's hired Black people in economic works he's done, like projects, right? So it's showing constructive works of a conscious level.
But this is what I mean, bro. When you're talking like that, and that's the same level that Dr. Uma's trying to explain to them. How can you create a genre and then make another man the king of it? Regardless of what you're saying, it just doesn't make sense. But they're not getting it. And this is
it's worse than that. It's worse than that because it's like there is a dynamic history of Europeans and Africans. There's a dynamic history, right? And when Europeans get into hip hop or jazz, they go, look, I understand that we've taken all of your wealth, we destroyed you, but we like your music so much, and I want us to look past that. And you're like, oh, okay, cool, maybe. But then when it comes up for them to speak up and like, now would be the perfect time to say, listen, don't push me forward anyway. Like I'm just in the background.
Exactly.
They won't do that. They want the accolades. They want.
Exactly. That's when the ally kind of starts getting a bit tricky, right? That's when it's time to be an ally. They're never an ally.
Yeah, that's something you must always bring up, this concept of like the so-called Black ally.
Exactly.
Like, how comes when we're arguing about this, they're not jumping? Hold on, guys, we've taken everything from you. He's right.
Exactly.
How powerful would that be? Not that we should then start giving them extra points. But I'm saying
exactly. The cheek of Eminem to say that. I could never be considered the best because I'm white. I didn't even know he said that. But the fact, you should just be thankful that you got accepted to even be a part of the culture. Now you want to be king of it. And this is what I mean. Like you said, you give them the inch, they want the world. They're not. Oh, I get you, bro. Like it's just mental. But it's crazy.
Remember, the focus is our people, as in like how we perceive things, and that's why educating consistently, but giving the verbal tools. And sometimes what we're trying to do on this platform here is a way to deliver it where it's still sharp and impactful, but it's easy to digest. You see, because as you can tell, some of these brothers and sisters they're completely uninitiated in any form of betterment, right? And the only education they have is that of the European reformist movement. We've killed too many Black people. We must now stop. You see, that's their philosophy, isn't it? We've killed way too many. So let's no longer see color. And it was like, hurrah, hurrah, hooray. But it's like, okay, that's their strategy. Well, our strategy is recovering from being killed. You see? It's very different.
So then, Brother Raven, then that means, that that analogy, what you had I think it was a year ago, error prone and high pitch, right?
Yeah.
If we do a presentation of error prone of what Sister Kushi was saying, the 60s, where Black people came up with certain genres, and then the non-Africans copied it, doing these pictures, right? That's error prone. And then high pitch is when we are celebrating those who put the action in, like, for example, Ice Cube and Swiss. That's the action. Then if we market that visually, then that could sink into our minds, to be fair, and that, what I mean? And that the error prone tactic is very
I agree. And one thing to add to that, is for us to, because if you think about it, back in the day, because obviously I'm into hip hop, I've been for years, right? But I come from a standpoint where I like the technical ability of the musicians as well as the lyrical depth of the rappers, right? I appreciate the art and how it's made. Now, saying that, there was a time where certain rappers wasn't as technical as other rappers, but how they became seen as popular or decent was they were called authentic or real, meaning
That's
the
right.
things they said, they lived, right? And this was something that a lot of people really resonated with, right? And that became a skill trump. So I'm saying we can now reintroduce a new skill trump, as in if you are about community building and you demonstrate that, right, in your rhymes and your actions, right, then this is what qualifies you to be the best, as in like you matter, yeah, as in like you doing something that benefits the community, right, rather than destroying the community, you fix the community, right? So there needs to be an award or a name for that, like brother Ice Cube is the most whatever. So when they call it who's the greatest of all time, we need another word like, you know, the most relevant rapper of all time, something like that. Do you know what I mean?
I'll say Pac, you know, brother Raven. Definitely, you got to put Pac in there.
Oh yeah,
You
of
know,
course.
his
I'm just writing
grandfather
down.
what he was doing and that as well. You know what I mean? And that.
Yeah,
So,
because of his mum's work and stuff.
Absolutely.
and what he was doing as well with the Black Party movement, funding the community. He's definitely up there. I thought, yeah.
The most black beneficial rapper of all time. Maybe the most black beneficial rapper, or beneficial rapper. Maybe the most beneficial rapper of all time. You can have that award. And when you say that, there's like 80% of the rappers don't qualify. And so then, you know, so now they have to think if they want to be beneficial, they need to start doing beneficial acts, either in their lyricism as well as their life skills. Like how they. So what's that brother called? Brother Nipsey, a Hustle. I never listened to much of his music, but I understand that he was about community work and hiring and trying to get brothers to own things and opening stores and stuff. This is important, you see, like letting the young see that.
Very important.
Exactly.
Nipsey Hussle had the right blueprint.
Yeah. So I think when we push beneficial rappers, the most beneficial rappers, and then we have a criteria. So
we got to put Yo-Yo in there as well, you know, brother Raven, because people forget about Yo-Yo. She also did some community service and help as well. Don't know if anyone remembers Yo-Yo.
Yeah, yes, of course, Yo-Yo. And KRS. Can't forget KRS, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
There's loads of people, especially at that period of time. I always say I think we were spoiled for choice. I didn't think that genre would never end. I don't know if it was because of my age or whatever, but I didn't think it'd get this bad, you know. Like there was a few people that you could pick out at that time that you could have that Erykah Badu, like there was just neo soul genre, like there was all of that is just been obliterated. Like right now you got the likes of like Sexy Red, I think her name is, and talking about what color her anatomy is, and it's just been ripped apart. There's more colored people, non-black people in this genre than and having the space to talk than ever before. I thought the likes of Nas, and I just thought they'd always be there. I thought that was ours. And it's been infiltrated so bad that it's a genre that I don't even relate to or recognize more times now. You know, when I go over my playlist, it's always the old school ones. Always. You know, even when you're seeing the youths that are doing the music now, the amount of songs that they're replaying just from when I was young. I'm not that old. You're talking about only like 10, 15 years ago. Like they haven't got no creativity. They're just replaying like TLC, and like these people they're still alive, and you're just redoing their musics, and it's just there's no the creativity and everything is dead. It's dead. You know, so, and that's not to say that you can't find other people. Like there's a great artist called Samba the Great, you know, and things like that are really like coming through and stuff. But you have to find them, and in a way, I kind of appreciate that, you know. Though I want them to be paid, I kind of like the fact that they're not going to be infiltrated or tampered with. That they're doing their own thing. These people are independent now, so they can do whatever they want to do. And as long as you find their name and go onto a Spotify or a iTunes or whatever, you can support them. And in a way, I think that's what hip hop was to me, especially being a person of my mindset in a family that I was raised back in the day. You couldn't see my people, the music that I like back in the day on, what did we have? Top of the Pops. You couldn't. You had to be on the underground. It was underground music. And I feel that in a way it's gone full circle, that real music has gone back to underground. And you're going to have to search for it and support your people then. And I know I would like them to get their accolades. I'd like them to be able to live good. And that's the only thing that I'd say that is sad about it. But in a way, I kind of like it because they're not tarnished by, you know, the mainstream and what they're exposed to say and expected to say, or what they cannot say, or they can't even preach for a movement or anything. Like even when you listen back to old songs, even rap songs, the amount of times they'll tell you about how they're black and then this, they might be saying a whole bunch of disrespectful stuff at one point, or not even disrespectful, maybe like something that you wouldn't necessarily think is great for our people, but there's always a line in there that's saying that they're black, they're proud, or something.
Very true. Right? Very true. Right. Very important. Very, very good point. One thing I want to say is, just to help paint a picture of collective inadequacy, when you're talking to brothers and sisters, so when we talk about underground rappers and mainstream rappers, and you go, well, we understand that controversy sells more than constructiveness, right? We get that. We understand the car crash TV and shock and that kind of stuff. But have you noticed that people think that being pro-black is controversial, right? It's actually dangerous. It's racist, even, right? But yet that form of controversy isn't actually beloved. You see, what is beloved is killing yourselves, fornicating with people, whatever it is, being naked, and all kinds of debauchery, right? But the controversy of being pro-black and separatist and economics, all that kind of stuff, no, that's. So that's controversy and gets you no money, while the other one is controversy and gets you lots of money. So that what you're highlighting is, it's not necessarily about controversy in it. It's about benefiting from self-destruction. See, your people are benefiting from your self-destruction. And when you try to include other groups in this self-destruction, they correct you. They say, no, sir. And this happens from the poor rapper to the rich rapper. We saw it done with the guy who's got many wives at the moment. Nick Cannon. We saw it with him. Rich individual. And he's a very good case study, and we wish him well. He, when he said about the Jewish people, he had to go on an apology tour and they had to stop. He's recently announced he has a light skin versus dark skin rap battle. This is obviously error-prone behavior. It's been obviously lit, and they're going to do it. I don't see, once again, he's wearing like ancient Moorish garments and those kind of stuff. I don't know how much of what's read or where is that. But once again, that's why we're saying we'll talk about the conscious community having certain codes and certain things like stock things that are just principle. I like to think that in the conscious community, stop me if I'm wrong, but black people marrying black people was the key, right? That is like a basic thing there. Am I right?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I'm just making sure. I just want to.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting confused now. Because now I only have Black Betterment to lean on, you see, for these kind of philosophies.
Trust me.
because remember when we're dealing with Garvey and Noble, Joe Ali and the rest of them and that, or those different ideology, but it was definitely black centered, definitely. So
yeah,
going back to foundation, as I said, Black Betterment. We got to salute the organization, man. Nationalism.
Now I think how you have to hit the public is on many different angles, many different strategies and styles. I think Brother Umar's style is very well, but it's a style that he's very good at, and it's a style that the controversy he can really control and benefit from the algorithm. So I wouldn't ever try to change that, but I would say that while he's doing that, there's other styles we can push forward, as in for those who are completely put off by him because they're not used to that kind of delivery. You can give them a more laid back or breaking down the facts and breaking down where we're at, and that's why it's necessary to do this. There's a show that when it comes out, I'll put on. I debated a guy, bro, very good show. Not too long ago, and we were talking about Black Betterment and the history and stuff. And once again, the topic came up about marriage and stuff, and who you pick as a partner. And you know, he played the European Africa, and he said he was going to do that, and it's very good listen. So when I get that, I'll put it there. But the reason why Brother Umar is important is because he's one of the few male voices who's promoting black.
Exactly,
Yeah.
unapologetically, and he'll go into any arena to do that, and that's important.
It's very important, and hopefully it influences others to do it. And also, it's good that he's also talking about who you push as the champion of your culture. You know,
I think Umar is like
well.
yourselves. I think Umar's like, oh, sorry, Brother Cal, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say with Umar, his style is very well known. He's a Garveyite. When Garvey's going to Speaker's Corner, when Garvey was debating, this was his style to kind of create animosity for it to be challenged. And that's what I like about, that's why there's a book called The Child of Garvey, and he's definitely represents that. And I like what you do as well, Brother Raven, is that we have to be very grateful to be hated by non-African people when we're nationalists. You see, because what it does is it makes them emotional. We're more political. We can challenge it and market it. Look how they're behaving. So he definitely knows exactly what he's doing, man. Garvey style, man.
I don't think there's one I don't think there's one rule that fits all with this. Like, that's what I'm saying. When it comes to black people, I know it says it all the time, but we're definitely not a monolith. And I think we're the greatest when we can have, even if everyone is singing on the same accord, but they're saying it a different way. I love it. I think when we're going to be at the best. So you need an Umar, but you need someone who's going to be, do you know what I mean? You need someone that's going to be an Umar, and you need a black Betterment. Do you understand? We're all saying the same thing, but we're all doing it in different ways. That's why I believe that. You know, I believe that because when I think we've got a bit of an echo. Sorry, family. When Umar is talking, Umar knows exactly the audience he's talking to. That's right. He knows that they're probably not even knowledgeable about their history, just like the dude that you've got right now on the screen, or he wouldn't talk so reckless. So in a way, he has to penetrate them in a certain way and talk to them on their level while talking to them. And in a way, he has to have that patience to educate, just like how when you and you talk to certain brothers, you don't need the patience to do that. Whereas for myself, I'm more good with people who already understand that. Do you understand? I don't have the patience to sit there and listen to it. So I think everybody is for certain kinds of, you know, everyone has their position, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's very, yeah.
I wanted to just share this with people. Yeah. In an economic sense, there's a, and I believe that a lot of people know who I'm about to mention. There's a brother from an African American brother called Sharif Abdul Malik, and he invented We Buy Black.
Nice.
And he's very. I mean, you know about him, right?
Yeah, I know we were.
He invented something. I like the approach he's coming from, financially trying to empower African Americans to control their own finances and economic, you know, their economic situation, to approach it from owning commerce and directing the flow of money around your own, you know, ethnic group. We need to definitely get into a space and a place where buying or controlling one's own resources is the norm.
Yeah, and I think go ahead, sister. Go ahead.
No, sorry, I don't want to change that. I was just going to ask. I see Katt Williams in the topics. I wondered where you was going with the Katt Williams thing.
I think Brother Musa might be best to.
I watched the thing as well. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I've got the whole and I think Brother Musa was saying, because there's a lot of things he said there, but I think Brother Musa was talking about it's at certain points it might be best for a person to air their complete disapproval of black society, people they've worked with, out publicly. I guess before really talking to them or whatever it might be, something like this, right? And I haven't seen all of it, so I don't know if he does that, but I did hear one or two things. But I know it's one of the algorithms that's circulating, like this interview and him talking about maybe being blackballed or something like this, or maybe people assuming he's on drugs or this kind of thing.
I think he was just from what I was seeing, he was and Brother Musa, like, come back in, but what I watched it, and I'm admit first though, I'm a Katt Williams fan. Like Dave Chappelle and Katt Williams, I'm a fan of those two. They definitely give me unapologetic black feel. I like that. I like that. So I was very interested to see this. And yeah, he definitely did call out certain other comedians. So not even just other people. He was definitely calling out other people within his craft.
Wow.
And I understand when the brothers say that, you know, before, but I think we've kind of advanced on our feelings about calling out people, especially in this era and this time right now. I've made it very clear that I think that we need to like separate the cat amongst the pigeons, or whatever the saying is, and I think that's what Katt Williams was doing here. And especially in light of the Diddy scandal, Tyler Perry, TDJ, all of these kind of affluent black people who have hurt black people, I think it's just a cleansing that needs to happen. And it's not going to be nice. It's going to be some of the people that we didn't I mean, look what's happening with Will Smith. It's going to be some of and Jada. It's going to be some of the people that we really would have preferred not to see. We really would have preferred Jada and Will Smith to just have been that black love couple. Do you know what I mean? We really wouldn't have wanted to see the scandal. But if it is that detrimental and it's not worth it, it's the image of something is not worth it. For me, what's worth it is the real of it. I don't want the image of it. I want it to be real. And that's the problem. Like, we need to just start. I say it on regards to the other quote unquote conscious people like Sarah and all the other people I've mentioned before. And I mean it in regards to this genre. I mean it in regards to music. I mean it in regards to leadership. I mean it in regards to business. They all need to get flushed out. I'm very spiritual. I do believe that it is the time of awakening. It's the time of truth, and it needs to get bun off. It needs to. We need to, you know, we always say don't be emotional on certain things, and this is the time now where personally we might have to, like, don't get me wrong, between R. Kelly and Diddy and Bad Boy Productions, you've probably just halved majority of my upbringing with music. This is like, you've probably tarnished a lot. I'll be honest. You know what I mean? And that's not cool, you know, but it's the reality. And if I stand on what I stand on, then I stand on these people getting dashed out. I can still commend them for the lyrical genius that it gave me. I still have the memories of what it was. I still know that some of the tunes that I've heard are some of the best tunes. But the people that's associated with it, they need to get bun. People need to get bun. Like, we have to speak up.
I agree. Go ahead.
You know what's interesting?
Go ahead.
Remember, yeah, we're recovering from colonial and slavery psychosis, and we live a colonial and slavery lifestyle. Meaning, is the panel aware of a man called Dr. Wade Nobles?
I've heard the name.
All right.
The name
What's interesting? He made a statement that when you as a people, when you're conquered as a people, and you take on a culture that's not yours, you take on both the excellence of that culture and you take on the sickness of that culture.
Facts.
So when you're looking, this is very deep stuff, because Wade Nobles is a trained psychiatrist. So when you're looking at what we're doing as a people, remember, a lot of this mental psychosis is downloaded into us. Because what rich white people, did anybody back in the day used to watch the TV series Dynasty?
Yeah.
Did anybody used to watch Dallas?
Dynasty.
I used to watch the TV series Dynasty, and I used to watch the TV Dallas. And the reason why I'm mentioning these TV series, Dallas and Dynasty, because these were rich white folk, affluent white folk that moved. Their behavior was above the law. JR, and all these characters in these TV series, their behavior was above the law. They did things because they were rich, white, and powerful that they could get away with because their money and their status allowed them to escape consequence that would befall upon the average person. When black folk got rich and entered that level of status, they started to behave in a way of above the law. Is that what I'm trying to say to you? So white Hollywood groomed and indoctrinated black Hollywood. We don't know what Tom Cruise gets up behind closed doors. We don't know what Sharon's you got your Sharon Stones, your Demi Moores, your Clint Eastwoods. You don't know what they get up to. You got your Kurt Russell, your Sylvester Stallone, your Arnold Schwarzenegger, but they don't throw their own people under the bus unless they're forced to, and it becomes unbearable, like Harvey Weinstein. But they knew what Harvey Weinstein was doing for years. They just didn't call him out until the point where it got too unbearable, and in order to save face, they're ready to cut that off. You see the one that was keeping up, what's his name? The Jimmy Saviles. And what's the one there that's related to the Queen? The Prince something. Andrew. Yeah. They knew what they were doing for years. It's just that they didn't call them out. Only when it gets unbearable and they need to save face and they need to save the tribe from the few that are. Then they call it out and say, you know what, I'm going to take away Prince Andrew's title. He's no longer Prince. I've got to spank him.
I agree.
What it is that if you air out your dirty laundry in front of the world, everybody's watching. Chinese people, Indian people, Arab people, and it's like, yo, black people are crazy. Yo, the black race is crazy. Black people are crazy. Black people are nuts. Or you're divided in the eyes of other nations. It's not that Indian people, Hindus, don't do certain things behind, like they don't do things, but they keep it in house because they've got a structural culture that allows them to keep it in house.
You know,
back to what Wade Nobles. I just want to leave this one. Wade Noble says, when you take on, because we haven't recovered from slavery and colonialism, when you take on another people's culture, and I'm talking about these Abrahamic religions, when we take on another people's culture, we took on their brilliance and we took on their madness. You understand what I'm saying to you? And we are still exhibiting that in present tense, 2024. Go ahead.
I just want to say that okay, so let me ask you something. Do you think then that that's the template we should take on, where they protected each other? Is that what we should take on?
Sis, I'm saying that we should be taken on something so revolutionary. Okay. I'm saying that we should be able to be taken on something so revolutionary, that I don't know if some of us have the stomach to even apply what I'm about to say. Everything foreign has to go. The Bible, the Quran, everything foreign would have to go. And then you'd have to govern on indigenous principles. Like the way, America was Native American land. And Native Americans did not follow the religions of the Middle East. Native Americans, they wear tribal paint. Their spiritual leaders are shamans. And they pray to a god that Europeans and Middle Eastern people don't pray to. They was in their own world doing their own thing. And they knew Native Americans had rules that could govern their people's behavior. You with me?
Yeah,
Indigenous African people had rules that could manage indigenous people's behavior because they're uninterrupted. They're uninfluenced at this point. Now that the 500 years have taken place, you're dealing with all kind of pathological isms and behaviors. And then we're trying to judge those behaviors with our own colonial brain, biblical and Quranic influenced, about what right and wrong is. So both the victim and the abuser are both infected by foreign isms that came from Europe and the Middle East. Because a lot of the behavior you're seeing black people do, they do in the Middle East and they do in Europe. But the Middle Eastern people don't air out their dirty laundry, and Europeans don't air out their dirty laundry. But I know because I studied European culture and I studied Middle Eastern culture, and this is what they do behind closed doors. Did you know there's a disease that is picked up by people from the Middle East because they used to have sex with a camel? You know that? You wouldn't know what goes on in their world because they don't tell you. But I know. They used to have sex with a camel. And then there's a disease, a trait that they picked up from that type of bestiality.
So let me say
But
this.
if you spend enough time around another culture, you're going to inherit two things. It's very powerful when I heard this. You're going to inherit their genius, and you're also going to inherit their madness. You can't just take one and not get infected with the other. Go ahead.
Well,
Oh, wait,
Garvey,
can I
yeah.
come back on him on that, bro, Raven?
So go ahead, sis.
That's why it's so important to give. I think there's a bit of a feedback. This is why it's so important to let people talk and give them the space to really say what they mean, so nothing can be confused, right? So when Brother Musa was saying the first part, I literally was like, okay, I knew I liked this brother because I was saying this same thing to my partner. I was saying the same thing that I like. So if we take the Will Smith, I disagree on a certain part, but I'll get to it. But the first part, I 100%. I think that needs to get delved into more, because if we look at the Will Smith and Jada situation that's going on now, right, and even the Diddy and stuff like that, the brother said that if you he said that brilliant quote, I can't even say it verbatim, but taking on the Western powers, or the people that are more powerful, seemingly more powerful than you. And I feel like that's exactly what we're seeing now. So if we're looking at like the Epstein guy, right, and the other one, I forgot the other one as well, right, that number one, my brother, is an example of them airing out their own people. Me Too, they're airing out their own people. They've got Asians that turn around and talk about how they were forced into, what's it called, not arranged marriage but forced marriage or something else. They've got two words for it, but one of them is the arranged marriage, honor killing and everything else. Then people that air out their things on the daily, bro. Yeah, but I get his mentality in saying that because he's black first, so he's only going to see it from how we doing it and how it don't feel right. Like I remember back in the day when like there used to be a program called Crime Watch, and your family always used to be like, we don't want to see a black person on there. We all used to get collective embarrassment or shame when stuff go on, right? Because that's how we were collectively. I don't know what we're like now, but that's how we were. So I understand what the brother's saying on that, right? But what I'm trying to say is, when you have reached a position like Will Smith, right, and I can't even really say because we've only got so many billionaires, right? We've only got so many people. Like Will Smith is a conglomerate at this point. There's outside races that are making money on the back of the brand Will Smith, right? So when you come into an entity and you've made it, and you are a black individual, there is no one else looking like you. I'm not talking about a couple of millions, I'm talking about big boy money. It's higher that you get, and you want to get high, and we want to see him get high, the lonelier it is at the top. So when you're at a certain level, yeah, and it's time to talk about, okay, where I'm going to put my money, how I'm going to move, you can't go to black people for that at this point. No one's there on that level. The only people to teach that man at that level is those people, right? So what he did is he mimicked them clearly. The stuff that's going on with Diddy is exactly the same as all of this quote unquote Illuminati and stuff like that, right? These are the same traits. So one of the things against Will Smith, for example, that came out, right, is that how as soon as they hire staff in their mansion, right, the first thing they do is that they tell them, okay, so Jada will say, all right, go into my bedroom and do you mind just getting out a piece of jewelry or something like that, right? So the individual just got the job, so like, okay, no problem, it's a personal assistant, goes up and gets it. When the person comes back and gives it to them, they sit them down in the room, they're like, look at the screen, we've got you recorded going into the room and doing that act. At this point, anytime you talk against us, we can put this image out there and say that you're a thief. Yeah, that's the same kind of thing that we've been hearing from our people talking about the Illuminati, how they'll set you up to do so, or if you don't want to call it Illuminati, whatever, escape the word for whatever it is. But we understand that the power of that be that's the reason why black men are in dresses. That's the reason why, you know, they put us in certain positions where if you talk against us, we'll mess you up. Not only will we cut off your money supply, but we'll make you so you're not even credible anymore. You're a joke, right? So I feel that what they do is the same in their own way that they can do it in their own world, that they've created. They emulate, like what the brother says, exactly what they've seen. That's why you know, these people like Diddy and stuff like that that's coming out and facts, and Cassie bringing out all of these facts. To me, when I heard the stuff that Cassie had to go through with Diddy, it was blatantly like the stuff that we've heard that the quote unquote Illuminati or these power that bees will make other people do. They're just doing, it's a clear sign of like abuse. You know, they're just redoing what they know that you have to do. When you get in a position, this is what you have to do when you hire people. This is what you have to do if you want to control people, because that's how they control me. Once you're in this kind of position, you need to protect. And the only way to protect is this way, this sickened way that Hollywood has done it, right? And that's why I agree with the brother that this is why I say that you need to wash it all out, because you need to expose it to understand that once you get to a certain particular position, you don't have to start moving that way. You don't have to adopt that way, but unless you flush it all out publicly, it's not going to stop. That's why it's been going on for years. This is why these things have been going on for so long, because it just kept on getting swept under the rug. The saving grace for me, my bro, because I used to think like you as well about getting aired out. But if anyone turns around and says, oh, look, black people are like this, look, they're look how they're acting, rare. At the same time, in the same breath, they have to turn around and say, but it's their own black people that shut it down. And that's something. It's not to say that's foolish and this is how they are. Yeah, you've got the likes of Diddy and stuff like that, but it's their own people that came on. It's us, the black people that came through and said that ain't about us and shut it down. And that's more powerful to say that's that, right. Yes, we've got certain elements in there that are doing stuff that are ills and it's getting exposed now. Who exposed it? Their own people. And I think that's more powerful than just allowing it to get swept under the rug. To understand that these people are just mimicking the people that own them, you know? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah,
it makes perfect sense. It's a brilliant explanation, but something I'm about to say is going to be even scarier. This type of behavior is going to continue to happen, you know, as long as we psychologically are tied to these people and we are part of their reality because we follow their calendar. We're speaking English. We wear Western clothing. You see what I'm trying to say to you? We have their style of governance. We got their style of justice. We've got their style of psychiatric help. Their style of medical system. As long as we still remain dependent on them and under their definition and under their banking system and how they do business, we're going to continue to see these pathological psychosis continue to take place. This ain't going nowhere. This is with the deeper we are into their system, the more we're going to exhibit these symptoms, because this goes on in the white world.
Exactly.
So
that's what I want to say.
If it goes on, yeah, right. So if it goes into the white world, and the white people are the white people are the rules.
But what I'm saying is,
you'd have to do a complete. Go on.
If we flush it out, right, the next one coming up, the next Will Smith coming up now, and then he starts making it. I mean, look at Jonathan Major. Like that's what Katt Williams was even saying. Like Katt Williams said, like, you know, I would never go near a white woman. Do you know what I mean? He's like, because I valued my life, you know. And then he's talking to Jonathan Major, like, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Jonathan
yeah. I
Major,
know,
like,
I know.
what are you doing? For the next
Yeah,
because who
because
managed
look,
to go into like a
Jon-
Marvel, or the next artist that comes up to be a Will Smith, will think twice when they think of what happened to Jonathan Major, when they think of what happened to Will Smith. They'll be like, you know what? This ain't for me. This is you lot white people stuff. Just like how Katt Williams is. And then Katt Williams even said it. I've been blackballed, or I've had to make it the harder route. It's not been easy for me, but I'm still here. Katt Williams, and this is the same as what was just talking about the music thing. Katt Williams arguably to me is one of the greatest, him and Dave Chappelle, that we've got standing now, right? But money-wise, you've got people like, I don't know, sellouts like Kevin Hart or whatever that probably make way more money because he's conformed, right? But to us, we need to understand the difference. That's the difference. Back in the day, we knew that. The likes of Bernie Mac and all the old greats, old school rappers, like all the brothers were talking about, we understood that. It wasn't about the numbers. It was about the lyrical genius of it all. Do you understand? And that's what we need to reiterate. Do you understand? So to me, the next one coming up is going to think twice now, because we've burned it out, because they've had such a, I mean, P. Diddy right now is, I mean, if that's not a fall from grace, I don't know what is. Do you understand? So the next one coming up is definitely going to think different before messing about with our women, before doing this rubbish, because you can't get away with it. Black women have said no. Black men have said no. This ain't tolerated. That's the saving grace, bro, that I'm trying to give to you. The silver lining of it all coming out, and the fact that it's us that's shutting it down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I totally agree.
I think you know, if we actually moved away from Western culture and we got back to our way of doing things, you're gonna see a lot of this type of isms. You're gonna see this type of behavior reduce. Because remember this, if we remember, we're still born into colonial realities. Jonathan Majors is a Christian, comes from a Christian family. There's already going to be a psychosis there. Puff Daddy's born to a Christian family. There was already a psychosis there. Who else? Will Smith is born to a Christian family.
Brother Musa, remember Garvey says, don't take the kings out of your hair, take them out your brain. Because remember, brother, it doesn't matter what spiritual system, if you don't have a nationalistic mindset, brother, you're going to invent another one that's going to worship non-African people anyway. You see, brother? And we've got the example of Garvey, that he had to wear certain clothing. He had to go into certain institutions like the Prince Hall, etc. But the difference between back then is that Garvey and the Garveyites, brother, is that they were going there, brother, with a Pan-Africanist mindset. I'm going to nationalize this economics for African people, you see? So until we get our power, brother, we're going to have to be in the Western world, as you say, etc. and that, until we get our power back. So the strategy, brother, is nationalism. Pan-Africanize everything, whether you're in the religion or not. And that's where we can see the fruits. And we've got a great example, as I said, you know, Messiah Marcus Garvey.
It's a good point. It's definitely a good point that you made there.
So I was going to add earlier, but that it's something we need to discuss, this concept of how to react, because what's going to happen is there's many people historically who will do great works, and we have no idea what they've been conditioned to do, or what they have done in the past, or what they still do. And then when it comes out, then a lot of people want to distance themselves from them and their work, right? And I think we were discussing, like, you know, can you have ideas over individuals? So even though an individual does something wrong, or something that doesn't work in our best interest, they create an idea that can still be operated. Kwanzaa could come to mind. Like, I don't know whether it's true or not, but obviously they say the brother who ran Kwanzaa had some challenges in the past that was reported amongst him and women and this kind of stuff, right? Don't know if this is true or not. But if that was true, obviously the women must be protected. You know, can you still appreciate what Kwanzaa was meant to be, or what they tried to push Kwanzaa to be, as a holiday for African descended people? right? So these are the things we have to think about, like how to react, because, and this is going to be the shocking part, is unfortunately the sheer amount of black people that do anything are probably going to have some kind of corruption in their mind, because it's very hard to be born in this planet, go through the experience of being black, but and still come through it
Come out as a
100%.
saint.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's right.
it's almost
That's
like,
right.
if you look at the reason we looked at the conscious community is because we said before when we started that many of the Brahmin sisters, they found consciousness when they were in their lowest point, as in they were in jail, or they were unhealthy, or they were doing time, or they were about to do something that they couldn't reverse, and at that point, someone's words or some book or some video resonated with them, and it gave them the motivation to change. But as we know, if you've lived, 50 years taking one kind of drug or one kind of alcohol, one kind of this, one kind of that, it might be hard for you to change in a year. So you're seeing them learning the philosophies and teaching philosophies, but still battling their own shortcomings. And then obviously it comes out. So it's a hard one. But we
Well
have to.
said.
We have to.
Well said.
Yeah,
So
but
we
I
have
think
go ahead, sis.
I think the thing for that for me, because I've been we've been talking over that for a while, and that's that. I think that's one of the realest questions. I think that's a real question that we have to ask ourselves. I think that's important because, especially as we come more enlightened, as we're supposed to be as people, we're supposed to be more enlightened. Every generation is supposed to be more enlightened. So we're going to realize that some things that we've done before might not necessarily be right for us, right? And but my thing on that is though, bro, when the Kwanzaa example you gave, right? If everything within the Kwanzaa it represents something that's good for our people, it's for the people who follow Kwanzaa to say, you see the principles, that's right. You see the man who did it, we bun him out. That needs to be said very clearly. And I think what has happened is because us as a people, we protect and we lock in, and because we understand how it is from outsiders, how attack, we just kind of hush it. We don't want to embarrass. We don't want to air out dirty laundry. That's very much within our culture, whether you're from African or Caribbean descent. It's our thing. Do you understand? And there's a reason behind that. There's a history behind that, why we are like that. But what happens is it causes confusion, and it causes that people who have been victims of those things to shun away from it. And then now we're in that age of airing out everything. So now they're exposing it and it looks disgusting, bro. And it's tarnished. And then when you look over to the conscious community, bro, they're silent, bro. And that's not a good look. But if you turn around and say that the principle is correct, but you see that particular behavior in that individual, we ban it out. You have a new reverence of respect. And that's what we need to start doing. I think that's what was lacking previously. So all of the other underlining things about other things, like you could talk about so many things in regards to like NOI with I forgot the individual's name, and Malcolm X said that he saw him dealing with little kids. You could talk about Nawapians, you could talk about Kwanzaa, because man is fallible. That's why we always say it's not about the leader. It's not about an individual. It's always about the movement, right? As soon as you lean on a person, that's when we get in problems, because no one's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? Like, heavy is the head that wears the crown. I would never want to wear a crown. I would never want it. Even if I felt that I was capable of it, I would never want it, because I'm fallible. Do you understand? So I'd rather be a part of a movement. Do you understand? Which everybody in check. Not one individual is the head of anything, and not one individual.
I think you gotta mute up, brother.
I have to mute you, but if you want to speak, I'll unmute you now. But there was echo, bro. So I won't mute you.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I agree with what you're saying is brilliant. I don't think you should. It's a system that should keep everybody in the movement accounted for. I don't think you shouldn't decide to wear a crown. I think just despite whether we're fallible, no, we're not perfect, we should still wear our crown. But what it is that we have to measure people by our own standards, i.e., we in Africa, we had a voodoo voodoo court system, a Obia court system, a Kemet court system. So you're judging people by the law of Ma'at and by your own standards, your own voodoo laws. Yorubas had their own laws. You're judging people according to what the Orishas expect of you. You got your own standards of how you're measuring people's moral compass. You're not gonna do you're not gonna do what Arabs do and judge people by Sharia law, because that's their system. You're not gonna do what white people do and take them to the court and then measure them by their understanding of what's right and wrong, because that's their system. Oh, black people have misbehaved, they're bad, so you're gonna go and take them in before a Western court system according to Western laws in front of a white judge to judge them about another race of people that they don't belong to? No, you got your own court system that you measure your own people by, and you got your own penalty of what you punish them by. But that's for your measuring your own people's standard.
What you see when it comes to the Kwanzaa, though, Sister Kushti, right? I'm glad you mentioned that. It's true. You know, Dr. Karenga, he should be, you know, extradited, etc. But the thing is, beloved, we want to associate that with the principles. You see, for years, we've been getting this, because when Kwanzaa comes, you know very well, a lot of us celebrate that for like since we was young, etc. It's part of our culture.
Absolutely.
But then our people do things like this. Oh, but you know, Kwanzaa is associated with my man. Oh, Kwanzaa has some form of mystic and magic and all these things there. And then our people do this, if it's got anything to do with that, and then they start celebrating Christmas. You see? So that's what I say when it comes to burning out, that is it's deep. So when it comes to burning out, I believe, beloved, it has to be done carefully and calculated, so it doesn't make us remove the principles. Because the moment we start using emotion and that, now we throw the Kwanzaa out the way, and then we're sitting on Santa Claus's lap. Mad. So you know what I mean? And that we have to tread very carefully, beloved man. But I do agree with you.
You're right.
I think even Brother Raven was cracking up on that one, but I want to say 100% agree with you. That's exactly what I meant. Like, we need to do it, but we need to do it in a way. That's why I say it has to be very clear. The principles we're 100% with. That one individual did that one act we're not rocking with. And I just want to say to Brother Musa that I want to give thanks for you to just bring that back to me as well, because of course I wear my crown. I'm a queen, right? But I think I was referring it into the regards to the current the current element that we're within, the Western kind of society. Because like you said, the way they just, as soon as you have, because that kind of motto, Nas always says it back in the day as well, like that kind of motto, as soon as you're the king of something or the top of something, it's the crabs in the barrel kind of effect, right? They're looking for something to drag you down with. But in regards to what you're saying, in regards to the balance of Mahat, which I am definitely like more affiliated to, that's definitely one of my spiritual systems. I 100% agree with your saying there. And if everybody felt moved like you and the brothers on here with that kind of mentality, it'd be easier to do that. But the current system is the current system that we're living in, which is the current crab in a battle, like you said, going to court and judging it by their own systems or whatever Sharia law that they're judging it on, or whatever religion that they're doing. Like they said, like Brother Cal said, and the next thing you know, we're sitting on like after Christmas's lap. Do you understand? So I just want to give thanks for that to the two brothers that mentioned that there.
There you go. All right, family. We're gonna end it there. It's been a great talk. This has been very helpful. Like I said, I've started a new project and stuff, so I'm always getting back around at this time. So it's always good for us to have a talk about stuff, because it makes it easier to have the show flow. So give thanks. Do you guys want me to let you talk and leave here, or are you going to contact? Because I think you said you want to talk to each other. Is that right? Or do you want to do it here alone, or do you want us to?
Well, we sorted it out.
Cool. So that's fine. That's cool.
But I will say one thing though, brother. I put something in the back. I don't mind if Brother Musa wants it, because something's happened to my number, and as I said, your the Mount Melanin facility is very important, brother. So I was wondering if you could add me back in.
Yeah, definitely. I've written down here. Let me
Yeah.
Let me add you, and I'll put you back in the group. Cool.
Appreciate it.
Excellent. All right, family. Until next week, everyone. Black Batman to all.
Black
Black
Batman
Betterment, bro.
family.
Black Betterment.
Have a good day. Be constructive.
Yeah, black Betterment.